a man that I helped with the back exercises that we do now, I spoke to him, and he came and he was looking at me through the crowd and came over and grabbed me, and he goes, I want you to know that I'm a yoga instructor now because of you. So, you can change people's life for the better by sharing a little bit of your heart and a little bit of what you've been through. It doesn't mean that you have to live in your trauma for the rest of your life. You took what you went through, and now your avenues and the trajectory might have changed. You're able to do your band stuff, and now you're meeting more people. You're writing, you're acting, and you're modeling. So it just goes to show that it's not the life that you planned, but who's to say that it's not greater in its own way? My husband, if I had him to this day, we probably would be divorced, and I would have to live way away from him, and he wouldn't have relationships with his kids because he didn't before they died. It wouldn't have been a good life. But his life, flash forward, it was over. But it doesn't mean that my life has to be over. It doesn't mean that you have to sit in your sorrow. It means that we have a responsibility to accept what happened and to move on from there and to be better humans and to help humanity out. Because
there is no cure, right? I mean, there's nothing they can do once it happens. No. And so, even boxing is one of the most violent of things, and I mean, we really haven't heard, mostly, I haven't heard, I don't know if you have, of boxers that have gone through this stuff, and they take a lot of hits to the head and stuff.
But look at the behavior, Michael. You look at that one, the one Irish boxer, the one young man that came over that just is chaotic. Yeah. They don't want you to talk about it because it's making them money.
Yeah,
and that's where the hard part is they're using these people. And to me, I flat out said, my husband is not a commodity. Right. He was never a commodity to me. He was a human being. He was my husband. He was my best friend. He had 3 children. He was a father. He was a grandfather. But I don't approach it like that. I said, you know what? We had children. We had grandchildren. I don't get that anymore. But I could work myself up into it because it's not just him. It's like, just imagine there's 2 universities. So you have a University of Washington and you have Washington State. But that's not the only colleges. So you look at Eastern Washington, you look at Western Washington, and you look at Central Washington. There's 5 colleges right there. How many linebackers run through? How many in the NFL? When we start and they get drafted, they're 80-some in their roster, and then towards the time when they cut them, there's 51 players. Now, my husband made it to the very last cut with the Steelers, and then he was moved to San Francisco. So we're looking at all these players, hundreds of thousands of people, and now we're looking at a chunk of time. He played 30 years ago, so he left when he was 23. He died when he was 52, so we're looking at 30 years. How many people are walking around with this? How many people that are soccer players that are walking around with this from universities? So a soccer player team has 12 people out on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people out on the field. How many people had the ball? Now, they don't allow the kids to hit balls anymore in high schools because, number one, suffers again are female soccer players. And I played soccer myself when I was younger, and I would head the ball, and I had concussions, and I didn't feel good. Now, back then, we didn't know. Yeah. So I started trapping the ball with my chest. So think of how many people are just living their life, playing these sports, having a good time, but the universities are making bank. Your National Football League is making bank. So they're not going to say that this is an issue. So I know I'm not going to change the world as far as how the NFL looks at it, but I certainly will say that there's other things to do than to give a person a pill. First thing is don't say a thing. Show a person love and grace and acceptance. Don't judge them, because they are basically losing their minds. They're thinking things that don't happen, and stuff happens. So there's a responsibility to take what you have, and it feels like right now that I've lost it all. But when I can look at the friends that I have and the opportunities I've got to speak internationally and travel, and now that my place is complete, now I can say, I did it. I said I was going to do it, you have this guy that is the top agent and what everybody wanted. He's wanting to build a facility. I have one, so he has all the respect in the world to me. And whenever I meet him at all these events, he comes running to me. Hi, Christine, how you doing? He invited me to go down to New Orleans, so this will be my third Super Bowl that I go to, and I've never spoken out of place, any other place but out of love and compassion. And he knows my heart. So people like you, you might know a little bit more than other people, but I don't tell the big dark spaghetti on the wall stories to people, because the truth is everybody that has somebody with CTE is living a nightmare, and you can't wake up from it. And you just want that person to lay down and go to bed and never wake up again, because every day they wake up is horrible for you. So when he passed away, yeah, it took the wind out of my sails. That knocked me down, and I couldn't believe it. But then I went down to the water where we would take our dog, and I just looked up and I said, finally, you're at peace, and I'm at peace, because I lived through hell. My family lived through hell. From every place I went, he would chase down and make it hard, because they're also losing a son-in-law. They're also losing a brother-in-law. They're also losing a dad. They're also losing a cousin and uncle, and you don't understand it. But now that there's more science, and now that things are coming out, you can test for certain proteins to see what's going on. You can do imaging and see what's going on. There's things that you can do. But if I just sat down and didn't speak and didn't say anything, then it means that pace of things picking up is going to be slowed. Maybe in my trajectory, I meet some doctor like you've got me, this gentleman that I still haven't contacted yet, but I know people from Boston Hospital. Once I get my place up and going and say, hey, I have a place to come to, you come and see me, this is what we're doing, I can show them things that I know that will work. A pill and ADD medicine is not going to work. That leads to an addict. That leads to somebody who's going to control themselves by substances, by escaping. But it doesn't change the nature of the beast that's walking amongst the public. And quite frankly, I don't weigh that much. I'm half of what my husband was, and I've been tackled in the middle of the field, I call it, in the middle of our living room, just by simply just having a conversation, and I was blindsided because of it triggered him, and it knocked me back. I've been tackled, and to the point where, that it's either me choosing my life, or it's going to be me or him. And with what went on, and there doesn't need to be details, is I was basically taken out of that situation, and my family put me 2 states away, but it didn't even stop it there. He ended up going down there. So they don't have the right mind. So for my family to get upset at me because I won't be quiet about this and I won't stop talking about it, or that I'm traveling and doing things they don't understand, that I should be doing a conventional job, it's never going to work. That wasn't what I was designed to do. I wasn't designed to sit behind a desk and be a secretary. I wasn't designed to hold. I was designed to sit with people, to be compassionate, to be loving, to be caring. And then the other things I'm learning the computer. But I built a place, and I'm very proud that I didn't stop, because it was hard, every day to get up and to see the things that we did. Is there's 2 women building, a facility, and the people that would go by thought we were freaking nuts when we're out there on lifts and when we're digging through cement and jackhammering. Is like, come hell or high water, if it has to be done, I will build the clinic to prove that these are things that are proven that will work. And so that's the story that I'm taking out there, and I'm in the process of it. And all of that is, I have it outlined for a book, and I've been wanting to write a book, and been approached several times. Hey, will you do this chapter book with us? It's called Unsilenced Victims, or Voices, Unsilenced Voices. Well, I said no, because I have my own story. But now she contacted me again. I said, you know what? I think I can condense my book down to get my chapter so that I can get on more stages. Because I've met doctors that are saying, hey, as soon as you get this done, come be on my show. I got to get a book done. And so my story can be condensed, and maybe that book doesn't need to be written yet. But I'm doing things beyond what people know that I'm doing, because I have that passion. I have that heart to help people. And my story's not going to end with a, she fizzled out and, no. David Drumgold said, you are a phoenix. You are my phoenix. You are my little phoenix. I've seen you spun out. You hit the ashes. And he goes, but you're rising. You're my phoenix. And so I said, you know what? I am a phoenix. In this case, I will be a phoenix, because if I can help one person losing my whole family, to me, that means the world to me. If I can help one family out, one gentleman feel better about knowing that it's okay. Yes, you're not going to be the same, but here's what we can do to get things in order. Here's what we can do maybe to preserve your family. Things that I should have done. But nobody's told me of that. Nobody spoke of it. And so by speaking up, I have to say that I'm changing the trajectory of how people view CTE. Is, yes, they're monsters. Yes, they're crazy. But they weren't always that way. But when we know that we have things that we can implement in their life, tools that we can give them, other directions they can go, help the families out. Every person that wanted to write an article wanted to dig in and tell of the bad things that my husband was up to, and my tremendous pain and the things that happened to me. And I said flat out, we're not going to talk about, we can talk about the day I left it backwards. We can talk about a brain injury, and we can talk about how we're going to help people. That's the only thing you're going to hear from me. And that's what I've stuck to. The only people that will hear an inkling and still don't know the story are the people that kind of experienced with it, with me. It will be my sister. It will be my brother-in-law. It will be my other little sister, who's my rock, she's held me up so many times. It will be my mom and my dad, and it will be my friends like you. Nobody else needs to know. They need to know something can be done. She's building a facility, and here's a place you can go. And other than that, I can leave that story behind. I can leave that tragedy behind, and I can look forward to new beginnings. I can look forward to the things that I know are going to be replaced with being better and helping humanity. If you had an answer to how you can cure cancer, you bet your boots you'd be doing it. And so I've learned a lot more just simply by connecting with my friend. She does hair analysis, and we reverse cancers, and we reverse disease, and we do all kinds of things for the goodness of people. So I'm not sitting at home, and I would be so depressed, and I wouldn't be happy, and I wouldn't be doing the things I'm doing because of what I've went through, and not only looking at myself, but the people that I have. Like my little sister has her own health issues, and I'm trying to help her out with my facility. Now I can help out my family. My mom's having some liver issues. I can hook her up to machines that we have now. My little sister has MS and has had reconstruction. She's using my facility. So we're not even opening yet, but all these things, like even for myself to sit in front of this brain machine that Tony Robbins has, his is like the Tesla form of it. Mine's scaled down, but it helps with so many over 700,000 ailments you can plug into formula. So when people come in, I say, okay, you have this, 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 and this. I pick their formula. They sit in front of a thing, and it's different technology, so you have to have an open mind. But I'm helping people not only with brain injury, but everyday walks of life, right down to my own family members. And if I went to Hanford and took a job, or I went and worked on the crew to flip a sign, there would be no satisfaction in that. I would be depressed, and I would be grieving for the rest of my life for my husband. I grieve for him, but I grieve for him in a different day. And every day it gets a little better. It's still there, and you know what I'm talking about. There's still that little piece of my heart. But when my heart broke, my prayers is God says, you don't need to pick up every one of those pieces that dropped. I'm allowing you to pick up the pieces that you need, and I'm molding you together. to walk forward in this life. And so I leave some pieces behind. I leave some things that I don't need to carry anymore. And I will always be the kind of person that will go above and beyond to help people, because a big part of it is for me helping the homeless, because in my situation, I was evacuated. I had a few things in a luggage and I was 2 states away. I didn't have a home. I didn't have any of my stuff. I didn't have money. I left with $1.89, and my mom took from her jar, her snitch jar, and gave me cash, and I couldn't even use my ID. I couldn't use my medical. I had to disappear. I had to change my name. So you'll hear Michael say interchangeably, like I call him Mike and Michael, you'll hear Tina or you'll hear Christine. He calls me Tina a lot because that's my previous name. Christine was only a name that I got called when I was in trouble. Christine Ann. But when I had left, that's what my lawyer would address me by. That's what new people would address me by, and I got used to that, to the point of confusing people. So I just kind of laughed and I said, "Well, you can call me whatever you want to call me."
You confused me because people call you Tina, and I thought you were Christina. So that really shocked me.
That's another story.
I was like,
well, that's another story.
Hey, let me ask you some questions though. First off, what is the name of the place?
The name of the place, name of my business is I call it the Dynamic Exercise. Okay, so it's the Spinal Health and Wellness Center. Is where I'm at, Spinal Health and Wellness Center, because really what you're dealing with is anything on the spine can affect your brain. But I'm a dynamic medical exercise specialist, so dynamic medical exercise therapy. So that's what I am. So we're merged together, and I have my facility. I am a therapist that's operating in the Spinal Health and Wellness Center. So we help athletes. We work with professional dancers. I've been to Vegas as well, working with #1 dancers in the world with our products.
That's where we met, because I was dancing and
yeah, Fred Astaire.
And I had dollar bills in my underwear and everything, but you know.
Yeah, and that ties back in, because I thought, when I went to the first thing in Chicago, I asked, we had some dancers there, and they were there, part of Bill's group, and I said, I go, can you teach me the whatever they call it, I go, the forbidden dance, the dirty dance is what they called it. And they laughed at me, and I said, no, I'm serious, because I lost my husband, and we talked about how we wanted to take dance lessons. Well, we had 3 kids that went on to play college sports, so we were very busy going from sports things. But I said, no, I'm serious, I want to learn. So they took me and privately gave me lessons there, and everybody was circling around. I didn't realize it, but we're watching. And I said, thank you very much. And there was these 2 young kids who you also saw in Hollywood, one of the times.
Okay.
So I said, oh, you guys are back again. So they were 2 or 3 times. Well, come to find out, I didn't even know how it tied in, because I was back in another tornado. And I met this guy named Vlad, and he just loved me, and he talked, and he took me during the, he found out I was a model, and he took me during this hurricane that we were in. As it dissipated, the winds were still going, and he had some wind dresses, and he says, let's do a commercial. So they all spoke Ukrainian, and not me. I didn't know what they were saying. I said, come on, speak a little English. So he taught me how to do some dancing. And we go down, we film this thing that they use now in Pittsburgh and for his stuff. But then flash forward to a year and a half later, I saw them a couple times at different events, and we're now working with international dancers. Well, I met all these guys that are like high up in the company that they own a ton of these dance studios. And this one guy was like, well, I want to introduce you to my daughter. And I was like, what? That's your daughter and the son? But he was the one that met me. So my story, it's funny how you meet people, and then all of a sudden it kind of keeps molding. And that's the walk of faith, is that all these people I know will come to play in my story. And so this guy, basically, we work with international dancers now, is he brings them, he's going to start bringing them to our studio, because believe it or not, you look at dancers, they're absolutely beautiful. They're so graceful, they're chiseled and everything, but they hold their body in a stiff position the whole time. And the funniest conversation Vlad said to me, he goes, "Do you know the difference between the man and the woman?" And so I was taking a stab at it, and he says, the woman, she can think of many, many, many things to do, and he's doing this and this. He goes, "The man, one thing." So women can multitask was his big take. Women can multitask. Men can do one thing. The man's job as a dancer is to hold them in place, watch out for other people, turn them. The women can do all the graceful things and the turning. So they're so messed up, and so people weren't going to be part of the end of the dance competition because they were so beat up. But we brought our stuff and we were invited, so we would rehabilitate these dancers to where, oh my gosh, they get up, they feel taller, they feel stronger, they're back on the floor, so they're placing first and second. And then at the end of, just to show you the stuff that I do with the spine, because I'm a spinal exercise specialist, so I work with people to open up their spines as well. And so when I worked with Lee Steinberg at the Brain Clinic, we were supposed to go to the end of the night VIP party and everything. Well, we worked from bell to bell to bell. I went to the bathroom one time. I might have drank 2 things of water. Eileen drank 1 thing of water. We did not stop. We had athletes and we had coaches and we had doctors and yada, 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 people coming through. Well, we're starting to break things down, and then all of a sudden the door opens and Lee Steinberg looks through and he goes, "I had to check out the busiest room in the house." And I said, "Well, here it is." And he goes, "No, I want to do it." And I'm like, oh my God. Because he's pretty old and, well, he's pretty wise. And he sits a lot, in chairs and everything. So there's posture issues. And so we did the whole workout with him. And when he stood up at the end, he was so happy. He goes, "Oh, I feel 3 inches taller." And then from there, when I went to the New U and I spoke in LA, then all of a sudden I was invited to go to the Black Panther premiere. And I was like, I don't have any clothes. I was invited. And he says, "I don't care." It was one of the people. "I don't care. You're invited. Show up. Be there." And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I did the best I could to dress up. Showed up, and they had all these things for sale. So I'm walking through the auction, and then I walk my way to the back corner, because here comes all these women, the Black Panther actresses, and the men dripping in jewels in the most beautiful dresses. So I'm bypassing the red carpet, and they're like pulling me. "No, Christine, you walk the red carpet." So I was like, smile, did that, but I hid in the corner. And then so I was looking at all the memorabilia and kind of thinking of my husband, and then all of a sudden I sense somebody's looking at me, and so I go like this, and there's Lee. He locks eyes with me. I didn't know he was going to be there, but he lives in LA. He locks eyes with me, and then all of a sudden he chases me down. He goes, you made me feel so good." And so I said, "You know what? You know me, I know you." I go, "If you give me your address, I'll send you some of the back stuff. I'm not going to hunt you down. I'm not going to do anything. Can I send you the equipment?" So I know where he lives. He lives in a gated community. I have his information. I know his girlfriend well, to the point where we're friends now. And so he trusts me, and I get invited to things because I said yes. I was brave enough to show up. I was brave enough to walk this walk. I had faith enough to walk this walk. I've met people that have lifted me up when I just feel like I couldn't go any longer, that believe in me, and that, like you, just keep going, and give me opportunities by introducing me to other people. So you just have to have faith, and you have to know that you follow that little still voice within you. If you believe in something so much, don't stop because other people and what they say. Whatever they want to say about you, let them.
Yep.
That's been my new motto.
That's true.
Let them. If they want to think you're crazy, let them. If they want to talk about you, let them. Because the ones that love me, the ones that truly know my heart, the ones that get me, the ones that are supposed to be in my life, 100% show up for me. They back me up, and they know who I am authentically. And so with that, I've never been happier, and it sounds, I've lost so much, but I've had to let go of a lot of stuff, which means family members, and but that brought about peace, and it brought about doors that open, and I've got to do things. And when I was in New York, I was exhausted, but finally letting go of that last little link, it was like me standing in the way of things that have to happen because of other people's choices. I have to learn that that's not my road. That person is in their mid-30s, which happens to be, one of my own. But I can't walk with my children the rest of their life. Whatever they choose to do is their Damascus road. It's our journey, and we have a journey in life, and sometimes it feels lonely. And it may feel lonely, but I know in my heart I'm never alone. I can pick up the phone and call you anytime. I can call Marcia. I can talk to God at any time. I'm not alone. I might feel lonely, and that's two different things. But I'm gradually allowing doors to open and people that I trust to come in. So I have a different kind of love for people that I'm forever grateful for. And I know that no matter what, is I will be a game changer. I will impact somebody to where that girl changed my life, because out of kindness I show up and give up my time and do what's right and what everybody else can do. Throw some coats in your car, throw some water bottles, throw some apples. And if you see somebody out on the street, first thing people like to do is judge them, but you don't know how they got there, which leads me back to I was homeless. And when my mom hears that, when I share with people that I'm homeless, it just means that right now I'm living in their home, but I don't have my life. I don't have my own home. I wish that I had my own space to be, so I can be an adult in every essence of it. But I get to be here right now. I get to help my parents, and I get to help the homeless people. And that's what I choose to do. Is I don't need as many coats. I know what it feels like to not go without. So I put stuff in. And now I have people leaving bags on my front door, which is an impact maker. I guess you can say that I'm making changes within other people's hearts, because now they're like, they see what I do. Hey, I've got extra jeans. Hey, I've got extra hats, coats, sleeping bags, blankets. And they know that I'm going to deliver them. So now I'm being asked by other charities locally to help put things together to help. And that's changing the world. So it's not about what you have, it's about what you can give. It's a piece of your heart, maybe it's a minute of your time just to acknowledge somebody, because nobody wants to be in that position of being homeless. Yes, some people are because they make poor decisions, but a lot of us, we're in our situation because of other people's choices and ways that other people influenced our lives. And so you either take that nugget, like I said, and you make the lemonade. You squeeze those lemons tight and you say, okay, something good will come of it. And you hold tight to your belief. You hold tight to your faith. You hold tight to your story. You share just what needs to be shared. Be impeccable with your speech. Don't take things personally. Those just are all things to live by, is walking by grace, walking in gratitude. And I'm forever grateful for the changes that happened in my life. Would I have loved to have my husband to walk my life healthy? Absolutely. If he was healthy and in his right mind, it would be a wonderful world. But that wasn't our story. But it doesn't have to be the end of the story. I can say that I can still walk with him through, this is what happened to us, but I still carry him in my heart. This is what I made of us. So it's just, the story still continues. So if I end up being an actress, great. That's not my intent. I happened to fall into this, and it was almost an escape thing. Hey, I'll go to New York because I'm used to the guilt trips. My birthday's December 13th. It happens to fall in the time where he has to be there to do business ending for national security. So I got to explore the city, and I got to be with my husband. And so when I was asked, it was shortly after you lost it was the same time. I lost my husband in August, and I think you lost your friend in October, November. And so I said yes. I said, you know what, why not? Everybody's going through hell right now, and kids aren't handling it right, and I just need to get away. So I said yes to the opportunity, because I could hold tight to the memories and visit the places. And from there, the crazy adventure began. And then I just said, you know what? I forevermore am going to be someone to help people. I came by that way as a child. I would take home every stray dog. It's just who I am. It's just who I am. And with my story, I can just continue to help people. And so that's what I'm choosing to do. And you're doing the same. You impact through using the things that happen to you, not stopping, not laying down, not giving into depression, but just understanding that I put my shoes on just the same as everybody else. My right foot, my left foot. I stand up just like everybody else, or I can lay down like the few who give up on themselves. That's not going to get me any further in life. So you have to rise and shine. You have to put on that happy face, and sometimes that's acting. But then you'll meet somebody throughout the day that gives you that genuine spark of hope. And so I often thank them as like, thank you. And it comes through my clients, believe it or not. It comes through the little old man that I put a coat on. Can I help you? And seeing the joy in his face. It's like, you know what? It's just the right thing to do. And so if everybody had that attitude of taking a little bit of what you had, whether it's just 1 minute, smile at somebody, open the door, say a kind word. Those things don't cost you anything at all. And so everybody has a propensity to change the trajectory of somebody's mood. And so I'm just set in my heart, that's what I'm going to do.
What are some of the, you got specialized equipment that are coming into your clinic.
Yeah.
Explain to me some of the things that you have and how they help.
Okay, so we have two of the original back equipment. So my friend who I met, I actually met her through, her daughter reached out to me because when I was going through all this trauma, I was doing all kinds of yoga just because I had to hide, I had to feel good. So he let me they opened the doors, and I said, I just need to be in shape. I need to exercise. I need to get this out of my body because trauma settles in your body. And I knew that to be true, you know. So I would move my body, and then I would post. I decided, okay, I'm going to do a Wounded Warriors. You know, there's a competition going. So I'm going to do that. And it was an international company, and I kept placing, and the rounds kept going. And so I ended up finishing second internationally, raising money to help Wounded Warriors. So Wounded Warriors are also ones who come home with brain impact from the explosions and things that they face in war, and mentally from things that they see in war. So that was my way. My husband was still alive, of helping people and paying it forward. I always wanted to help people, and it helped me out. So this little gal contacts me, and she had been through her own trauma in her own lifetime growing up, and she was in her 30s and just really struggling. Will you work with me? And I said, absolutely. So I started working with her, and then she told her mom about me, and she says, my mom wants to meet you more than I did. And so I said, okay. She goes, well, she's gone to Coachella. She travels around and she helps athletes. She does back equipment stuff and yada, yada, yada. So eventually she comes home, and we sit and we met and we clicked it off. And so she had met this doctor because of her traumas that happened to her. She was hit by a car and grew so many inches in a year to where her spine was a mess. This doctor had poured his lifetime into proving why the S-shaped spine works, you know, and athletes are better because the S-shaped spine. So your cervical spine, your thoracic spine, your low lumbar that makes the curves in your spine, the ones that have a true S-shaped curve doesn't happen very often. So you look at society, we're all looking at our phones, and we're in positions sitting at desks that change your spine. So he created, through his science and his measurements, this back equipment that they used in all places. New England Patriots had it. Dallas Cowboys, I think, are the only two that had this machine. Well, the guy ends up passing away, and so she approaches his wife, and she says, hey, can I take his science? And she's an inventor. She doesn't want to do training. She creates stuff. Can I take this? And the lady didn't want anything to do with it. So she made a protocol, made the machine. So we actually have one of 3 spine machines. So it's a heavy piece of equipment, but we also have stuff that's mobility. It's a certain kind of roller, so you'll see foam rollers typically used. Oh, I'm sitting on one. So this is one of our back tracks. So if you know any of the back equipment, typically a roller is just straight across. Well, this actually is where the facets of your spine sit. And so when you roll on them, it just kind of puts things into play. You also, there's different sizes, so we can size the low lumbar spine, which is right below, you know, that portion of your spine, very low back that everybody's like, oh, my back hurts, and the cervical spine. So we have a protocol of a certain exercise that you do in order, and then they open up your spine, and when you stand up, they actually stretch out and open up your spine, make you taller. Our athletes are able to go from one guy that became the yoga guy, he was like 11 inches in his reach to touch the floor. When we were done, He was 4 inches away from the floor. So we have stuff that's mobile that we take and do away with. I have my Pilates stuff. I do Pilates. I have near infrared saunas. So that does stuff deep and cellular in your body, burns fat. The light itself is therapeutic. We have a multi-light machine that you get into it. It kills off cancer cells and illnesses. Again, the brain machine that we do has so many things that you can program in for depression, disease. I had just programmed before I left a girl that has severe MS, a guy that has like breathing disorder, asthma from working out at the area, so beryllium poisoning. Oh man, what else do we have? Hyperbaric chambers. So
Those things. What are those? What do those do?
Those actually, you go in and it's a pressurized, so you get within them, and they're like, if you heard of Michael Jackson used to sleep in one, they just kind of reverse your aging process. So it pushes like oxygen into your mitochondria. So on a cellular level, it's repairing things. It's repairing your DNA and like little glitches. But the common cold, so if somebody is like has anything wrong with them, common cold, you can get in there. There's certain protocols, like for some people, pacemakers, you can't get in there. So there's some things you can't do. But we ordered like 3 different ones. So now we have like one that's a regular size one that's for somebody that can sit up, so people with mobility issues, or perhaps they're heavier, or they just don't want to lay down in a machine, because it is kind of, you get in and you get zipped up and then you start getting pressurized, your ears pop. And then we have a huge one for oversized people, like the athletes. But it helps you to recover faster. It helps to keep your body younger. For instance, if I did it, I haven't even been able to do it but twice since I got it, because all I do is work. But your hair grows faster, your cells reproduce faster. So regenerating your body at a cellular level, replenishing things, So we have machines that help women and men, pelvic floor machines, magnetics, which is now big in sciences for curing body ailments and getting you back on your feet faster. So hydrogen water. So it's proven that if there's a study out that if you drink hydrogen water and you breathe hydrogen water, that you can reverse cancer in 3 weeks. So these are things that our government doesn't talk about. So you might get bleep, bleep if you go on YouTube. But they're proven things that they're doing in other countries just across the borders, But unfortunately, I'm not going to say too much about our system, but it goes hand in hand. There's not any other countries that have their Food and Drug Administration tied together. So Big Pharma makes a lot of money. Things that are good and right, you're not going to hear about. So that's kind of where I'm going to be a game changer. I bring people in and we treat them with the things I know. I exercise people in a way. Some people think they need to get on a treadmill and run to lose fat, but your DNA might say elsewise, don't eat the lean meat. Some people that are heavier actually need the fats. So it's put them on a steak diet, but you're never going to hear that. But if people knew that red meat gets the rap for being bad, but if you ate a steak and you ate half of an avocado, the avocado takes away the inflammatory properties of the steak. So it's like we teach people this stuff, but you're either going to be labeled a conspiracy, theory, or you're voodoo, or you're doing this. But it's so not. If you look at the science and the stuff that they're doing overseas, we have the beds that you lay on, the beamer mats, the electrical mats that you lay on. I'm just going by the top of my head because it's been a while since I've just... addiction. We have things that you can put on for sound. So a lot of things is frequency. A lot of things is light therapy. So for people with concussions, like my son was playing at a Division I school, and when my husband got injured, or before he was starting to have issues and I had to go, my son actually got rung, his bell got rung, and they have protocol where they take you on a computer and they simulate the things that you watch, lights and everything, because it helps with head injury. And so the stuff we're doing is stuff that's practiced mostly outside of the U.S. or in very high tech facilities or in big hospitals where they're actually doing it. So you're occupational therapists and everything. But I have the ability to do that because I'm a medical exercise specialist and I exercise people and the technology's there and it's not taken away from me. I have the licensing to do the things that I'm doing. Breath work is huge. You know, people don't believe in that, but I'm like, okay, if you don't believe that breath work works, hold your breath. Don't let it out. Don't let it out. Don't let it out. What's going to happen? You're going to keel over. If you take a deep breath and exhale, it's just like rocking a baby. So you breathe in for 5 counts, hold it, exhale for 6 counts, hold it. You are basically rocking your neuro system. So it's just things that you have to think of outside the box. It's not a take a pill facility at all. It's a let me sit with you. You know, share with me your story. Are you okay? You know, you get to know a person. You get to know, they open up to you, they have a trust, and then you say, okay, are you willing to try this? Will you try this? And so I've had my oldest client, when she passed away, was 93 years old. The youngest 93-year-old you've ever seen in your life. But in the end, she ended up having cancer that was too far gone. But I was working at a different facility, and I kept saying, go to your doctor. This just doesn't sound right. So I got a call one day from the family member, and they said, will you come in? So when I went in, they told me that they did an MRI and found that she had the places that I told her to go have checked. She had mass cancer that just basically went through her body, and they didn't want to tell her that that's what she was struggling with. So that was a heartache for me because every ounce of me wanted to say, you know, this is what you have, because she had people that she, throughout her lifetime, that she had put through and advanced their situation. So she had several people that she went and put through priesthood. So these are people that she should have had the right to say goodbye to. But at the end of every one of our meetings, it was Monday and Friday, she was always my last client, I would get her a little ice cream. Tiny little ice cream yogurt cup. And I said, if I live to be your age and I'm exercising 3 days a week, I'd be eating ice cream too. And so that was when I went to go visit her, I said, I'll still go into the hospital and visit you. So she made it 2 more weeks. And when I would go in there, they said she's not eating. And I said, well, let's do it this way. I said, hey, Dorothy, what kind of ice cream do you want? Do you want vanilla, strawberry, or chocolate? And she just smiled. I said, bring all 3 of them. So at least she was eating that. But she was like having conversations with her brother in the corner, ready to go. And she was hanging on just so her family would be together. And my biggest regret, but I know that I wasn't meant to be, was I wanted them to tell her so bad. And I begged them, please tell her that so she can get a hold of these people that she loves dearly, because she went into the Peace Corps. Like I said, she put several people to be priests. And she talked about them. She showed me cleft, you know, she was a game changer to the day she died, collecting up glasses, collecting up extra prescriptions and sending them off. When her story, she had trauma too. Her husband committed suicide when her youngest was 7. So she raised 4 kids on her own. So it hurt me, but she had to have all kids there before they were going to tell her. So I said, I have to go out of town, Dorothy. And I told her every time, I said, Dorothy, there's a better place to be. You can stay here if you want to, but there's a better place that you can go to. I love you very much. And so that's how I would end every session, because she was in and out. And I had to go to Seattle with my husband. And so I'll never forget getting a phone call and saying, she said, the other sister was there, and we want you to talk to Mama. She's not doing very well. And I said, okay. So they put me on the phone, and I was just talking to her. Sorry I couldn't be there. I said, I love you so much, Dorothy. I said, but remember what I said. There's always a better place you can be. I said, and if you want to go, I love you, you go. And then I got a phone call back 7 minutes later, and they called me, and they said, after Mama talked to you, we all said, you know, we all got to hug on her and stuff, and she took her last breaths, and she passed away. So, but you can touch people till the day they take their last breath. Till the last day I take my last breath, I'm hoping that I'm reaching out and making a difference in my lifetime. um, just because it's the right thing to do. We're not made to be selfish people, and really the more you to use. So it goes with money and everything else. Money, I'm not afraid to give up on money because money is energy. It means I'm going to work harder, or the more I help people, all of a sudden I need this and money comes into my lap. Like I told you, I didn't know if I was going to be able to go to New York, but because I have a certain amount of money coming in, but I had kids I wanted to help, and so I picked up a job last minute. Can you watch the Danny Bruce's house? They go travel, my client. So I watched and babysit his dogs, and it was like the ticket price was covered. So when you walk by faith, doors open, things happen, and that's just the story I'm going to continue to tell is be good, extend yourself to help people, add value instead of asking people to hire you. You hire me, hire me. It's like, what can I do to add value to what you do? And don't have any expectations. And pretty soon doors were open. That's how I met my partners. I graciously helped her daughter. She saw me helping other people. She said, I like what you do and how you approach people so much. She goes, I want to be a trainer. I don't want to train people, but I want to be able to talk like you do and understand the body. So she actually became a personal trainer. That's as far as she's going to go with it because she's an inventor, and she does the science part with hair analysis and determines what vitamins you need, because everybody thinks they need to take all these vitamins, and you open up people's cabinets and a lot of times they're not taking them anymore, and really you don't need to take that many. You need to know what your body needs. You take this one so that this one works better. It's a process, and so that's kind of what we do. Is I tell my clients always, when I worked with them before, I want to pull my hair out because number one, I'll give you an amazing workout, but it's what you put into your body, and it's what your body is doing right now in time. So we do hair analyses, and then we can say, this is what your body needs. So I'm watching people get healthier quicker. I'm seeing them get younger faster, have better lives, more longevity, be happier. Moody people are fatty oxidizers. They're bitchy because of the way their body is, but when you can tweak that, you can see the moods and everything change. So it's been a long process of learning, but it came, I've always done, like I said, I've always been a trainer and always worked with people, but now I get to work with them on an intimate level, deeper, biological level, mental level, and the doors to open up, helping people with the head injury and TBIs has only come to me because I've shared my story online. I've been very honest. I share just enough to where people know that I've been through something, but the girl doesn't stop. That's what somebody says, girl, you just don't stop. And I said, some days I feel like I want to, but I owe it to God and the life he's given me, and for his faithfulness for showing up for me, as I will always show up for him, because that's my journey. That's my Damascus road. That's how I'm going to be a game changer in this time and space in my life. That's what I believe. And so if the doors open, like I said, for other things, I'm willing to do that. I have an agent for modeling now, which I never intended to, but Ryan, Ryan, so East Coast, West Coast, and he's working on getting some things going, and he's very happy with what we did this last few days in New York. So, it's just going to open up doors when you choose to be brave with your story, when you choose to walk in your pain to help others. That's what you do.
It's funny, you were talking about vitamins and stuff like that. When I hit 50, so many years ago, my doctor and my wife at the time kept saying, you should take all these vitamins, all these. So I went to a health store and looked to see what I was supposed to be taking, and they sold you these kits where you would take a pack of this, and they'd had all these vitamins all pre-packed for you, and I thought,
and burp them up.
And I thought, all right, I guess I'll take them, and if they say I should take them, I should take them. So I took them, and then I went to the doctors, and my blood work all of a sudden went wacko. And it was like, I don't know why. I mean, I forgot that. I knew I was taking them, but I don't know why this is happening all of a sudden. And then I thought about it, and I thought, well, the only thing that's different is these vitamins. So I
Yeah.
stopped taking the vitamins. Because the doctor was even saying you should take vitamins because you're getting there. And when I stopped taking them, my blood work went back to normal again. And I've been off them for quite a while, and all my blood work is always perfect when I come back. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess I didn't need them. And it's funny because the nurse comes in and says, "What all are you taking? I need to put that. I need to log it." I said, "Well, just taking this one pill." They said, "Is that all?" I said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Don't need them. And she's like really surprised that I'm not taking a lot of drugs and pills.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and a lot of people really, you don't need all the, because everybody thinks, oh, I'm going to get healthy, I'm going to have vitamin E, vitamin D, vitamin. Almost everybody's deficient in vitamin D. Almost everybody is deficient. But you need something that is a carrier for that. So it might be that you need vitamin E. It might need, if people take, some people take zinc, it's not what they need. For some people, they need zinc. And so when you get a hair analysis, it basically tells you what you need, and then they can track it. So you're tracking this, and you do it again, and you'll see the changes, and you'll see what happens and what you need. My little sister did her hair analysis, and then she had seen so much. Hers is inflammation, huge inflammation for her. And she was seeing such great results. She brought her husband in, her two daughters in, her mother-in-law in. Now, and then she told our neighbor. So there's three of them that came in, and everybody's getting healthier, and they are dumping all the other stuff that they thought that they needed to take. And then they're eating differently because now they understand is it's a process. And then a lot of things that we're told in our industry, in our to eat, food wise, oh, that's healthy for you. It's like, no. It really isn't. You think it is, but it isn't. Like protein drinks, we can go on and on about which ones are great, which ones aren't, which ones dump sugar and whey versus everything else. It's how your body metabolizes stuff, how fast it moves through your system. It's the same thing as when a doctor gives you antidepressants for my husband, and that's a big thing with CTE is they were prescribing him this one, and this one. Well, had we done a hair analysis, we could tell you exactly which one he needed, because he's like, oh, remember when I took Prozac, I was a maniac. No, because you didn't tell me. But was he a maniac? Yes, because his body metabolized it so fast. And some medications are very slow to metabolize very fast. So you have to kind of know. And doctors, you can't fault them. They go to school and they're practicing medicine. And when people understand they're practicing medicine, they're doing what they're educated to do. They're doing what they went to school to do. We're using the body and seeing what the body is doing in time, what it's actually doing in time. And then we work with herbologists, and we work with doctors, and we work with vitamins and nutrients, and we work with all the equipment we have to make a person well. That's why we call it a wellness center, is because we're not going to get you sick. So we're gonna coach you and teach you the things to do. So it's a very different facility. And when people come in, I said, you know what? I'm sorry, but like it or not, and I won't influence you if you don't want to hear me pray for you, but if you want me to pray for you with you and you want to be in a part of your experience, I will pray for you. But even when you turn your back, I pray for you because I believe in the power of prayer. I've seen some amazing things happen. And that's everybody's own personal thing, so I won't go there, but I have conversation with God about my clients. My partner does too, in fact, if it's okay with people, because she has 90 different places all over the world, countries that she's working with everywhere, all over the place. And she'll get them on the phone and she'll ask, can I pray for you? We've prayed for Muslim people. We've prayed for Indians. We prayed all over the world. And to hear the stories and the things that come back, it only makes me believe in the power of prayer even more. So if, when people argue with me, I said, well, what's it going to hurt me if I'm wrong? I'm a great person while I'm here. But what's it going to do if you're not right? So that's the only thing. I will never argue with somebody, but I'll say, so what if I'm wrong? At least I'm a great person, but you not believing, where's that going to get you? So, I mean, it's just a philosophical, but it's also very spiritual to me. It's also about being a good person and doing the right thing. It's also about following your heart. It's also about following tests and samples and staying with somebody versus like my client. They told her, my little Dorothy, oh, you're great. You know, we don't need to see you until 6 months. And so that was the thing she kept telling me. Oh, I'm just sore. I'm just sore. And it ends up that if she would have done that, or she would have gone through with what I said, that perhaps they would have been able to catch something. Perhaps they would have been able to do something. But unfortunately, she was told, oh, you're good. We don't need to see you because they're following the insurance thing. 2 times a year, 3 times a year. Or, you know, if you're cardiac, it's every other, you know, or you're going to be on this, you know. And so even within my own family, you know, I've had to fight and buck the system where they don't get what I am trying to teach them. It's like, oh, my blood pressure is perfectly fine. It's because you're taking medicine. How about if I told you you didn't have to be on medicine? You can take beet juice. You can take beet supplements. It lowers it. And it's mind-boggling, but it's people that have more belief in a medical system and don't understand exactly what I do. So, I don't know. It's an adventure, Michael. It's an adventure.
Every day is an adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day, and every day's a blessing. Every day I wake up, I'm like, I get to do this one more time. And sometimes it might be a harder day, but at the end of the day, I'm very grateful. Like I say, I would never have met you. I would never have met my sisters, and I would never have the tightness that I have with my the immediate family that are supportive of me. It changed the trajectory of my life for the better in ways. Do I have a heartbreak? Yeah, I miss some of my family members deeply, but that's their own healing journey. So I've learned to grow from that as well, you know. So every day is an adventure. Every day is a blessing.
And so are you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I appreciate your story. Every time I hear it, and every time I hear it, I learn more.
Yeah.
You certainly have had a trying journey, and you've overcome so much. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah. But one day, the only thing I want to hear is when I am at the pearly gates is, come on in, job well done. And that's what I want to hear. And it's not, my heart already tells me to do the right thing, but that will be like the moment where I'm like, okay, I live down here, now I get to live it up, you know. So I just encourage everybody just to be a good person, just to go outside, you know, of your comfort zone, pull over, like I said, put some sweatshirts, put some old socks, put some hand warmers, water bottles, apples. It's hard on everybody. Our economy's not doing very well. So if you have stuff you've outgrown, or if you are that person that has size 12, size 10, size 8, do you want to go back to size 12? No, get rid of all the size 12s. That's what I've told so many of my clients, and they said, you know what? Nobody's ever said that. Why would I want to have size 12s in my closet anymore? You don't. You know, and if you did go back to that, it's probably going to be outdated, or maybe it's back in fashion again. I don't know. But by you releasing that, you have more closet space, more energy, and the feeling of giving somebody something that really, really is in need. I think we've all been there in our lifetime, and I know you've had your own experiences where, you know, what you have to make of a home is what you have to make of it, and you really appreciate having an extra blanket. You really appreciate having a coat or a fresh shirt or some fresh chonies, you know, some undies. And I've worked at the United Gospel Mission. I can tell you there's a lot of people that need help. So I'm just, at the end of this, before I've got my little niece, I got to get to her birthday party. But my heart is just always to be an encourager, to have other people be encouragers. So go through your drawers, go through, find extra blankies, pillows, jackets, hats, scarves, hand warmer. You can help somebody out. You'll never know that might have been their prayers, you know, because I've experienced that too. When I was in California, I was crying to my attorney, I just need some money. I have no clothes, you know. So I learned to shop at the Goodwill, and I had a skirt that I wore for a swimsuit cover. I would wear it to sleep in, and then I would wear it to dress up in as a long skirt. And so I just got off the phone with him, and I had to go up to the San Francisco Yacht Club, which is people like Raven, Michael. They're very well to do, and they would check out your toenails and everything you're wearing. And my head would be down because I knew, that's what I'd been wearing. But they didn't know, where'd you get that skirt? I was like, G-Dub. But when I walked past this one lady, she says, hey, I'm going to be going to Africa. She goes, I went through my closet and I have 3 bags of clothes. I had just told my attorney like 3 seconds before, you don't understand. I need clothes. I need some money. I have no clothes, nothing to wear. And then this lady just said that to me, and it took my breath away. And I started like instantly, I started crying, and I ran to the bathroom. And I wasn't crying because I was embarrassed or anything. I was crying because when I cried out and I needed God the most, and I said, I need clothes, God hears prayers. And so I've been there. And so when you can be that person, I just did it to a man the other day. He didn't have a coat. And I looked at him and I wasn't crying anymore because I wasn't taking my thing. I could smile at him and say, hey, can I give you a warm coat? And he's like, and he could barely make sound. And I said, can you give me your blanket and I'll trade you? He had a hospital blanket that was thin as can be. We all know what those cotton hospital blankets are like. He was holding it and a little walker thing. And I said, will you exchange? And he's talking, mumbling something about weight. And I go, I promise. And when I got back from San Francisco, like I said, or Jersey, I had a whole porch full of stuff. I threw it all in my car. I look homeless, like I'm living in my car. But I had the sleeping bag. It was a down sleeping bag, and I took that sleeping bag and I handed it to him and took his blanket, and I said, God loves you and I love you. And he smiled, the biggest smile on his face, and it wasn't ever looking down here now. He was looking me right in the eye, and he was saying, mumbling, thank you, with the biggest smile. And I was like, I didn't do that. It was me being the deliverer. I had to go because I hopped on a plane, go back to get my luggage, and I had the stuff in the car. But I took the time to pull over when I saw something. And it was the means from somebody else that gave me the stuff. And I know that he walks now with, maybe his prayer was like, I'm freezing cold, I wish I had warmth. I don't know what his story is, but I can guarantee some people that we've met along our journey that from, passing out the soups and passing out the clothes is we're an answered prayer. One guy says, I said, I'm going to pray for angels to surround you and be there for you. And he goes, I already see my angels, my sister and me. And so that's the joy you get. It wasn't that I'm setting out to do anything. It's like there's a necessity right now in our world to take care of other people. When I have extras, I'm going to give them away, because I know that I will be taken care of. So I just want everybody to maybe let that kind of move around in your head and in your heart, and then maybe take what I say up on it, maybe load up your car with a few things and take that second to pull over. And I've never had anybody, I have my own family said, aren't you afraid you need to carry mace or a gun? And I said, I've never rolled my window down partway and said, hey, can I offer you some warmth, and had anybody hold me up for it. They said, yes, please, and be so thankful and so appreciative. And that's an opportunity that you won't experience unless you learn to walk by faith and just follow your heart. What's the right thing to do.
In the words of my character, are you my angel?
Yeah. You know what? And I truly believe, like you're one of my angels, Maggie's an angel, is we all have opportunities to help people through hard times. And
I do have a story that you'll appreciate, and I don't think I've ever told you this story. Just out of college, no money. I was living in my van, and I had a job interview. I didn't have a suit. And I'm like, how am I going to get a suit? I don't, That's back when you had to dress to get a job, and
dress to impress.
And my co-host, Doug, his mother, I love her mother. I love his mother. His mother was awesome to me. I was at his house, and I was talking to him about this. And I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have a suit. His mother came up and handed me money. And I said, wow, out of the blue. I mean, I didn't know her that well, but she just handed me money. I said, I promise you I'll pay you back. And so I worked and worked, because I did get the job. I worked and worked, and I had the money. And I went up to her and I said, thank you very much. I couldn't have got it without you. She goes, stick the money back in your pocket, and when someone comes up to you and needs money, pay it forward.
Yeah.
And I have done that so many times, I can't even tell you, just because of her, because she taught
And
me.
you can't, yeah, and you can't buy that feeling that you get, that joy that is authentic. You can't buy that. You can give stuff away, That's why they say is love is something. There's a song back in the 70s, love is something if you give it away. Give it away, give it away. Love is something. Sorry. If you give it away, you'll end up having more. And they talk about it's just like a magic penny. Hold it tight and you won't have any. Let it spin and you'll have so many. They'll roll all over the floor. So you give love away, and the feeling, you can buy something, it's temporary, and you'll forget about it. But you'll never forget when you see the joy on somebody's face, or when somebody steps up and does something kind to you. You'll be like, you'll never forget the kindness that somebody extended you. But you forget about the stuff, you forget about the things. And it goes back to the point is that I can only work on being loving and kind and pray for my family, because I can't take stuff to heaven with me, but I can certainly take souls with me. I can hope and get my kids on the right path, and with other people show them goodness, so that maybe they'll have that opportunity in their lifetime. But it's not stuff, and when you lose your stuff and then you learn that, okay, that's all right. Now I can, whatever I bring back into my life, I get to choose. Because I did hold on to some things thinking that I need this, and I didn't have a place to put it. And then the one thing that I loved the most in my house was this mirror, because I got it for a great deal. But every time I passed that mirror, I saw my husband in the back, and he'd always do some smart aleck thing to me, and it just crushed me. And so I was like, I don't need that mirror in my life anymore. I want a reflection to give it to somebody else so that they can make their own memories. And so you learn that it's a process of more or less giving away pieces of your soul, and then in the process it snowballs. You just get the feeling you get, you just can't buy that, Everything's temporary that you buy. Oh, that feels good, or that looks good. But nothing feels better than wearing an authentic smile, an authentic hug from somebody. Another person I jumped over and, can we give you, would you like some warm turkey soup and a roll and everything? And I bent down to get it for her, and a little homeless lady, and then she looks up at me and she goes, you're so beautiful. And I didn't expect that at all. And I said, you know what, you're beautiful. She had a sparkly hat on, and her face lit up because she truly was a beautiful person. Then she was like, the guy next to her was in and out because he was doing some drugs, but she's like, did you hear what she said to me? She said, I'm beautiful. And I said, you are beautiful, and God loves you, and I just want you to know that. So everybody has the ability to make people feel better, but let it come from a place in your heart that's true and authentic. Let it come from releasing things that you think you need to have to make you feel better. Let it come from $5. What's $5? You're going to find it in a pocket like the next day. You put your jeans on, there's a $5 bill when you release it. When I see somebody, it's like, no, I don't need the $5. Give it to them. Or the lunch, the leftover from, that you box up. As I walked out restaurants before with my sister, there's a guy sitting there. Give him the meal. Oh, thank you. I was just praying for a warm meal. That doesn't happen if you don't follow your heart. So be true to the feelings and that little small voice, like I say, that is within, because you have the propensity really to change a life for the better just by a kind word or a smile or opening a door, noticing somebody. Because the homeless people, they're so full of shame and guilt, and their heads are down because it's embarrassing. It's hard,
Yeah.
but everybody could be me. Everybody could be and experience what you did. And it's not because we're bad people, and it's not because we made foolish decisions. It's just because life happened. you know. But I'm forever grateful that life happened.
Yes.
And the story only gets to be bigger and beautiful, more beautiful. The years that go by, the pain shifts and changes. It doesn't take the loss away, but I could look back and smile more because I remember more of the good things than the bad, and that's kind of the beauty of what God's trying to do, is erase and don't focus on that, focus on this, teach people this. But there's a lot of release, and there's a lot of growth, and there's a lot of change. And I don't think anybody wants to stay the same, you know, so we can either choose to change for the better or change, you know, for the worse, you know, by not doing anything differently. So it's a learning thing, you know, but the second you walk on faith and you just try it. I dare anybody just to try it. See what it feels like to get rid of something. You go into your closet, and if you have 5 coats, choose 1 or 2 that you really don't wear once in a while. Who's gone, like me, I'm like, you haven't even gone skiing for the last 3 years. Those coats go right in there too. And so I'm like, okay, oh my gosh, this person is my size and needed a coat. There it is. Or a sweatshirt, you know, it had paint all over it, and it was thick. I was never going to wear it because it had paint on it. But this person that doesn't have one at all, they're looking for warmth. They don't care about the paint. So try to look at life in that perspective. Try to change for the better, and try to see other people how you would like to be treated. And then it makes it a little easier, I think, to be a better human being. So, you know.
That's good advice.
Yeah. And I love you, Michael, because I've seen you grow and change so much. You're so quiet at first and standoffish and didn't want to be around the hens, but you've been henpecked so much that you earned the name Rue, and writing a, you know, a sitcom that I just have to feel good things are going to happen because you stepped out in faith and were like, oh God, I'm stuck with them now. But you've seen all of our, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Of what we're becoming and who we're becoming, and I think it's changing you for the better. I know you've changed me for the better. Sharing your stories, you know, some of the stories to where I felt less ashamed of myself, and I should never have felt ashamed of my situation. But you know, having those authentic conversations with people to let them know that, hey, it's going to be all right. I've been there before, and it's not, like I said, not comparing your situations. It's just like, hey, this happened to me. This is what happened to me. This is what I experienced, you know, because some things we're ashamed of. You know, I didn't want to tell anybody that I was homeless and that I was hiding out and had my stuff scattered from here to who knows where, because I had 3 different places, and had to, you know, when the car was coming by and the truck was on the run and he was coming after me, boom, gone. You know, life in a bag doesn't come by easy. But then I learned how other people feel. You know, what's life in a bag feel like? Pretty dang shitty, you know. But it doesn't have to be that way. It could be like, hey, I did it too, but look now. Life at Goodwill is okay because I'm finding some pretty good scores and brand new stuff. And, like, I scored a brand new nice leather jacket for $20. Now I can give up 1 or 2 of those coats that I have. So you just put yourself in a position to level up. Always level up with your heart first and not with your thing.
I have a message in the chat room I'm trying to read. I can't see that far anymore. Can you recommend a hydrogen water, what is it? I can't read
the hydrogen machine. The
hydrogen water maker. Is that it? Something?
Yes. Okay. So let me do this because I don't have the model or anything. If you can leave your number and your name in the chat or a place that I can get in contact with you, then I will ask Eileen. She's the one. She is my fantastic business partner, and she's got Asperger's, so she is so smart. She talks circles around people. I will get that information. I will get it to Mike, and we will shoot it to you. So if you can leave either your phone
I
number,
have it.
a way to contact you, your name, I would be more than happy to send you an article, send you the kind that we're using because she likes to find the best deals. Um, and we'll get it to you. Now we have two hydrogen machines. I actually sent one of them home with my sister after her surgery because if you breathe the gas, it also helps your body heal cellularly on a mitochondria on the deepest level that you can. So her, when she went to the doctor, she's actually going to be out of her boot like 3 weeks earlier than most people. And he says, "What are you doing?" Well, she's doing technology that we're having her do. So as soon as she got the okay from her healing starting, we put her in the hyperbaric chamber. We put her on the thumper machine, the magnetic machine. So please, please leave your name and your email,
I have
your
it.
phone number, however your preference is, and I would be more than happy to get that information. And maybe I can have a little segment where I say the health part of Mike's health tip for the week come brought to you by Christine. I would be more than happy to answer questions. If you guys want my email address or however we can help, we can talk about that, Mike, down the line. But I should go celebrate my little niece because she's probably waiting for me. But I thank you guys very much for listening to us, for putting up with us. Our technical difficulties. Now I feel better that it's not just me all the time.
Well, I think it's because you
But
came on the show. It broke it.
it
You
probably
broke my
was.
technology.
I did. I did. I'll take credit for that. But I look forward to let's share with them a little bit more and make sure we run through and then Maggie, maybe a couple of us can be on. I don't know, but um, maybe try to get Maggie on. She's one that has a huge heart too and can share some story, and Marcia too. We all experience hardships in our life, but it's a matter of who you surround yourself with, your mindset, move your body, and breathe. So that's what I talk about when internationally when I talk. A little bit that as much of my story is about my husband, but I talk about movement, mindset, and breath work. So that's what I coach people on all the time. Because if you are feeling depressed, if you're not feeling good, pop on your tennis shoes, get a coat on, and start walking. Move your body, and then set your mind. You're gonna be okay. This is temporary.
What about your
Be
boat shoes?
grateful for where you're at.
What about your
Huh?
What about your boat shoes?
My boat
Or
shoes.
something like that?
Which
You used to tell me I should get boat shoes or something like that.
Oh, I wanted you to get some. Oh, I wanted you to dress yourself up. I told you to get some penny loafers for one of
No, no, you
our
said a
shoots for
boat
casual.
shoe. There was a boat
Well,
shoe.
it's the same thing. A boat shoe is a more of a casual dress shoe that you can wear with your khaki pants. You're right. Put your boat shoes
I
on.
don't even know
Take a
what
walk.
khaki. I don't even know what khaki pants are. I'm a guy. We don't know
They're
these things.
khaki pants,
What?
khaki cotton pants.
I
The
don't know what that
color,
is. Okay, whatever.
the color khaki is a brownish greenish color.
Well,
We
I
got to
can
work
do
on you,
that.
Mike.
All I got to do is just get diarrhea.
If you're going to be a model, we got to work on that. Well, you've come far, though. He has come far because we told him he's got to get new shirts, iron up. So he went to the Goodwill, got some shirts. We ironed. Michael, come with it. Each photo shoot, you've impressed me. You've impressed
I
me.
remember
It's now on hangers.
the first
It's now
walk
organized.
I remember the first time I had to walk the runway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, get your
At
butt
least you
going.
didn't wipe out.
Get your
All
butt
right, love you
going.
guys.
You have a
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you
I
so
love
much.
you.
I
All
love you
right.
too. I appreciate you, and I'm glad to see that you came on and did this.
Yeah, yeah, and make sure that you pass on that information to me, and I'll try to get on that as soon as possible.
You got it.
All right, love you guys.
See ya.
Be good humans.
That too. All right, see ya.
All right, bye.
Bye.
I try.
All right, that was fun. That was expected to last like maybe an hour, and I'll tell you what, she had a lot of information to share with you. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. She's a heck of a person, and I Okay, now there's sound. Jeez, technical issues. Anyway, I was talking about when I went to pick them up at the airport. I drove. What? I fixed it. I was driving three hours to get them, 3.5 hours to get them, and I had to charge when I was at the airport. And I got to the airport, and they had like 10, 15 charging stations, but they were all taken, every one of them. So I sat there in the charging station, it took me 15 minutes to get into the actual charging station, and I charged for 15 minutes because they were waiting for me. I couldn't wait too long, and so while I'm there at the charging station, I said, "Well, where are you at?" And they said, "Well, we're in arrivals 7." And I thought, okay, well, that shouldn't be too hard to find. So I'm driving around, and I found a 7 right next to an 8. Right, they were right next to each other, and so I call them, or I sent them a message saying, "Hey, I'm here." They said, "Well, we don't see you." I said, "Well, I don't see you either." And they said, "Well, are you sure you're at the right place?" I said, "I'm right here. It says 7 right here, and it says 8 right there. So I don't know why you can't see me." Well, we determined that was not the right place. So I looked, and I kept trying to find it, and then they sent me this Waze with a pin drop. I'm trying to find it, and I'm circling around the airport. I don't know how many times I circled around, and I couldn't find this 7 and 8. Then eventually I said, okay, there's got to be something more to this. So I went around it again, and this time I took a different turn, and there was another 7 and 8. And so I found them and found the 7 and 8 and loaded up and drove all the way to the place that we were staying at. And we stayed, and Tina and I had to get up early because we were going to training. Oh, Thomas G. Waits, if you don't know, is one of the members of the Outsiders back in the, I guess it was 80s, I guess. It was a big movie in the 80s. And he trained us on preparing and stuff like that, and relaxation when you're doing acting and all that. So that went pretty good. And then after that I did headshots for my new look. And then after that, Tina and I went back to our place. They were continuing throughout the night, but we were done. We had other things we had to get done, like this pilot. And so we went back, and then after that we didn't have anything else to do with the VIP stuff because they were done with us. And we went out the next day and shot some more with a new photographer, a different photographer. And the one guy that I shot with that day worked for Vogue, so I knew I was going to get good headshots, and he did a really, really good job. So then after that, we went out and ate, and then we went out and looked at the Christmas lights, which, la-di-da, I don't care about the Christmas lights, but we went to the city. We went to Rockefeller Center, and we got the rate for the night, and it was $81 to park in their garage. $81. $81. I almost choked on that. That was a big $81. Anyway, we parked and then we walked around the city and they got to see their lights. And then when they were done, we went back and let's see here. Yeah, we didn't. We went back and then we were done, and then Sunday. That was Sunday. No, Sunday was the photo shoots. Monday, they wanted to go see. Oh, Monday they did another photo shoot. I didn't do that one. And then when they got back Monday night, trying to see here. Monday, when they got back from the photo shoot, we shot the pilot. And I'm still working on editing it, so you'll see it when it gets done. But it was pretty cool. And we were up till, I don't know, 5 in the morning shooting the pilot. And then Tuesday, no, I'm sorry, Tuesday we shot the pilot. Because Wednesday I had to leave. So we shot the pilot and we stayed up till 5 o'clock in the morning Tuesday. Whew, or Wednesday morning. That was crazy. So then they had something to do Wednesday. They went to see the Friends display. I guess there's a place in New York you can, if you're a big Friends fan, you can get to look at the Friends exhibit or something. I didn't want to go to that, so I stayed there and I did my listings and stuff for part of Wednesday. No, part of Tuesday. Part of Tuesday? What day was that? Tuesday. Oh, that was, yeah, Tuesday morning I did my listings. Wednesday I ended up packing all the lighting and all the stuff we used, all the computers and stuff, and headed home. So it was a very interesting week, and like I said, I have the footage now I gotta work on. It's a lot of footage. It's crazy. So it's a big project, but when it's done, hopefully we will get this pilot, get some interest in this pilot. Anyway, it's after 10. I think it's time to go. I appreciate everyone that stopped in and listened, and I will talk to you guys next week. And hopefully, oh no, not next week. I guess this is it for the year. So I will talk to you guys next year. So, yeah, I appreciate... Hold on there. Don't do that to me. Anyway, I appreciate the support. I appreciate you guys watching the show, and I hope you had a good time, and we'll talk to you guys next year. So, make sure I have this right. Okay, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for your support, and it was a good 2024.